Hello everyone, I'm John. I'm doing my presentation with Ryan. Our IFR flight plan is from Abilene to Houston. On the first slide here, we can see that our estimated time of departure is at 2200 Zulu. Our estimated time en route is 3 hours and 18 minutes, which puts our estimated time of arrival at 0118 Zulu. Our departure weather is going to be marginal VFR, as you can see here from the textual METAR and the TAF. And then from this first graphic here, you can see that it's actually going to be marginal pretty much our entire route. And here with the wind barbs, you can see the winds are going to start from south-southeast and then develop more toward easterly winds. And our departure procedure, we're going to be using the 17 left ODP. So it states climb to a heading of 185 to 3,100 before proceeding direct to course. And our course is going to be starting at Shep. The ODP requirements is 200 feet per nautical mile. And so we're going to be climbing at 233 feet per minute at 92 knots to 4,000 feet MSL. Our wind is going to be 199 at 23 at 3,000 feet, and from 222 at 34 at 6,000 feet. Here is an actual readout of the departure procedure. And then for our en route weather, the METAR show MVFR conditions, and they're going to exist for most of the flight route. Overcast cloud conditions, easterly wind conditions. There's an AirMet Tango active for a portion of the flight. Mild to moderate winds aloft, and the freezing level won't really affect us on this flight. Here you can see the graphics of the METARs, the TAFs for certain reporting stations. Here on the cloud forecast, you can see that it's going to be overcast with varying ceilings, but all are roughly around 2,000 feet, plus or minus a few hundred feet, depending on the location. The wind barbs for this one are a little bit less detailed, but it's showing mostly from the south at approximately 15 knots. And the graphical for the AirMets is going to be active for just a portion of our route. And then here we can see all of the winds aloft, which for the first portion of Abilene, there isn't anything listed. But then as you look down the list, it's anywhere between 16 knots, to 20, the lowest being 7. And then here we can see with the freezing level, it kind of goes up and around Texas. So while we're dealing with inclement weather, we're not going to have to deal with the freezing level down where we are.
All right, so once we're out of Abilene, we will go to the Abilene VOR, then to the Shep Waypoint, Victor 77 SJT VOR, Victor 76, then the CWK VORTAC, then Victor 305, straight to the TNV VORTAC, then to the Duckos waypoints, and then direct to George Bush. Upon arrival at George Bush, it's looking at our ETA. It's going to be marginal VFR, 6 miles and plus, broken at 25, and then 8 knots out of 100. Technically, we don't need an alternate, however, for this project, we will. So, marginal VFR and relatively light winds. All right, based on winds, we should expect runway 15 right ILS approach. The approach course is 149 degrees. Runway landing distance is 9,999 feet. Touchdown elevation is 95 and airport elevation is 96. It's important to note the treble T and the frequencies we need to pay attention to are ATIS 124.05 will be coming in from the west, so 124.35 for Houston approach. Houston Tower is going to be 127.3, ground control 121.7. Our initial approach fix is Dukas, which is 20 DME on the 149, and we will be at 3,000 feet. Then we'll be getting to Graph again, 3,000 feet, 15 DME, then down to Vet, which is 12.7 DME, 3,000. From there, we can descend down to 2,000 to Jackpo and begin our ILS glide slope intercept. On the ILS glide slope, 295 feet is our minimum descent altitude with 1,800 RVR. In the event that we lose the ILS and have to switch over to the localizer, we will instead have 580 feet as our minimum altitude and 2,400 RVR. So in the event of a missed approach, we will climb to 1,000 feet and continue on a left turn to 2,000 on the Vortac radial 085 to Cosby. From Cosby, we will hold 21.8 DME. So while we technically don't need an alternate, this is one that we have for the project, Jack Brooks Regional. So at the time of arrival, if we did have to deviate, it would be 6 statute miles and broken at 025. So looking at marginal VFR well within the ILS requirements of 600 feet and 1 mile. So with the weather being a little bit better east of George Bush, this airport works great. The ETA would be 2347. So looking at fuel, which is our main concern once we look at weather, we'll need the flight time to the alternate plus 45 minutes. The calculations I used was the max continuous power for the climb, 2,700 RPM, which guzzles down 11.6 gallons per hour. In addition to that, the cruise, I used 24.1 manifold pressure, 2,400 RPM, guzzling 2.5 gallons per hour, and that is for our altitude, our pressure altitude of 5,000 feet. So in total, including start time to George Bush, then over to Jack Brooks, plus the 45 minutes that we are required, it will take about 4 hours, 30 minutes. So in total, 46.4 gallons, which is within what the Diamond can carry. So an overall pretty uneventful flight if we were to do this IFR. There's mostly marginal VFR conditions along the route of flight, and with that, mostly overcast, easterly wind conditions not going above around 20 knots, and an AirMet Tango for the majority of the flight. And with marginal VFR conditions along our route of flight, we wouldn't technically need an alternate for George Bush. However, if they suddenly did go below, that airport to the east would be a very good candidate, and with the ILS approach minimums, it would be well within those. Overall, fuel is very much what a Diamond can carry with freezing levels, not really applicable, and not a lot of icing that we would at all encounter along the route. This flight would be uneventful and probably very successful.